Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be going through the House ratings from 538, the Cook Political Report, and the CrossTab and Real Clear Politics, just to see where it shows the Republicans and the Democratic Party pretty much on a national stage in terms of the House Representatives map. So 538 recently came out, very recently, a day ago, came out with this map here that shows each district and what chance they have for a Republican or Democratic win. And that, every single district. All the way up in safe districts or even hotly contested districts, and they do have some districts that they are already expecting to flip, either to the GOP, like in this district itself, or to the Democrats, like in the Texas 23rd district. But overall, a lot to see here. They have the same thing on the that's not it. They have the same thing on the crosstab, which shows the chance of the winning a House majority for the Democrats and the Republicans, and outlined in black are the ones that are currently, flipping from red to blue. And then for the Cook Political Report, they're not as lenient towards the Republican Party or the Democratic Party because they only have 153 solid seats for the GOP compared to Real Clear Politics, which has a map as well, but it's only toss-ups on this map because they don't want to fill in every single map itself, every single district itself, but they have 163 seats for the GOP in Real Clear Politics, 13 in the likely column, and then 18 in the leaning GOP column. So there are 40 Republican seats in the toss-up column and 2 Democratic seats in the toss-up column. On the lean Democratic side, we have 4 Republicans, and on the likely Democratic side, we have 3 Republicans. So let's just talk about math here. First of all, something that is very consistent is that there are 7 seats on the leaning or likely Democratic side, possibly because of redistricting or just how Democratic the districts were, just with the Republican incumbents in 2016. So first of all, there's 1 Democratic seat on the likely GOP side, so we have to deduct that from the final, total in math. But we have 7 Republican seats that are already going to flip. If they're already on the leaning Democratic side, we're not going to see a possibility of the GOP even focusing on that seat. So if they're on the likely Democratic seat, it's completely gone, 100%. So let's say the Democrats carry all 7 and then they lose 1, so a net gain of 6, even if we take out all toss-ups and don't factor those in at all. That means the Democrats, they currently need 23 seats because of the Pennsylvania 18th special election, which they gave them a seat up, and they originally needed 24 seats for the majority, 218 now needed for a majority, but they currently need 23. You take 6 away, well, now they only need 17 seats. So that means that they're going to be even closer to possibly taking back the House of Representatives. With 40 Republican seats in the toss-up column, the Democrats now only need 17 of these, and it's not going to be too hard for them to do that. Looking at a number of these races, even states like Montana are currently rated toss-up, and you might wonder why. Well, the most recent poll shows the Democrat ahead by 6% out of Greg Gianforte, who was elected during a special election, infamous for body slamming a reporter, which was something that really did hurt his campaign, but also people had voted ahead, and you can't take back your ballot then, which was the whole issue, but that's another topic for another video. Regardless, he was able to win the election itself. I still think he would have won the election. I just think it would have been a little bit closer. But he's going on to 2018, of course, and then he has to face another Democratic nominee. So one thing, again, is consistent amongst all of these ratings from all of these, pundits and political reports or 538 or the crosstab. They all give the Republicans and Democrats around the same number in terms of solid seats, and then the leaning and likely seats are where it's a little bit different. So for the Democrats, for likely Democratic and leaning Democratic, because Cook wants to pretty much combine them together, we have a number of Democrats here. We have 13 Democrats in the likely column, 12 in the leaning column. There are only 11 seats for the likely / lean seats for the Democrats compared to right here we have 25. And then for the GOP, we have 13 and then 18, which is a total of 31. And they have more than that. They have 50 here for the GOP. So not as lenient to the Republicans, like I said, in terms of the Cook Political Report. For 538, they aren't either. We see the forecasting the race for the House, and there's a 3 and 4 chance that the Democrats will win control, so around 75%, and the Republicans have a 25% chance of keeping control. So keep in mind, Donald Trump went in on this map here with a 33% chance of winning the presidential election, so that's a little bit different. But, of course, presidential elections are always different than House elections. But also, this is by the same guy, Nate Silver, 538, pretty famous nationwide for their, ratings. I remember he got the 2012 map exactly correct. But also, enough talking about that. The average gain for the Democrats is plus 35. And I guess the least gain there's a 10% chance that the Democrats gain fewer than 14 seats. Okay, and then there's a 10% chance that the Democrats gain more than 58 seats. So right now, there's a 80% chance it goes between 14 to 58. Keep in mind the Democrats currently only need 23 to flip the House of Representatives. So even on their low end, it would get them very close to possibly flipping the House of Representatives. And they have How Do You Like Your House forecast. That's pretty interesting. But they have light. It's just based off polls, national polls, which gives the Democrats a little bit less, I guess, not as good of a chance of taking at the House. And then if you go into the deluxe, it doesn't help the Democrats as much, but also it goes into the expert ratings in certain races, but still the Democrats gain on average 32. So I'm going to go back to classic because that's what everyone likes to use when focusing on things like this, and then it shows you the map. I don't know why most political areas don't like to focus on Montana as a toss-up district, because I guess people expect it to be, oh, this is a Republican state, there's no way it's going to flip. But if you look at the current incumbent and the data across the state, there's going to be a popular senator going for re-election from the Democratic Party. I do think that this is going to help the Democratic Party, even in terms of the House or even, state Senate elections or things like that, very drastically, because of the fact that there is an incumbent going for re-election in Montana. But overall, this map is not good for the GOP. There are a number of districts that are currently rated as flipping to the Democrats. In Iowa, 3 out of the 4 districts in Iowa used to be controlled by the GOP. Nate Silver and pretty much all the other pollsters pretty much expect that these 2 districts, the ones that are currently have Republican incumbents, are expecting them to flip to the Democratic Party, which means that Iowa would no longer be a Republican state in terms of the House of Representatives, but now a Democratic state with 3 out of their 4 representatives coming from the Democratic Party, and this is a state that Donald Trump won by 9%. Also, if we look over, there are some Republican pickups, like in Minnesota, a 49.6% vote total for the Republican is expected, and 46.4% for the Democratic member. However, we currently have a 5 and 8 chance for the GOP to win there, and then another Republican pickup down here, a very narrow one though, 5 and 9 chance for the GOP candidate, and then 4 and 9 for the Democratic candidate. But overall, we're pretty much expecting more Democratic pickups than GOP pickups. If you look at this, the average gain for the Democrats with all the scenarios is that they gain 35 seats. That is very good for the Democrats. If we look at the CrossTab, they expect around the same amount. Down here, they have the whole polling numbers, and then the seat projection is 231 to 204, and then pretty much they expect 35 seats to be picked up. So that's the exact same amount as the average from 538. So overall, it looks like the Democratic Party is at the advantage currently, and especially looking at this polling right here, where the Democrats lead by 7.8%, that is a large amount nationwide, a 7.8% lead for Democrats nationwide. Can you imagine if Trump or Clinton had won the popular vote by 7.8%? It would have been Electoral College landslide just based off how the numbers would work out. But of course, this is not the Electoral College. This is not a state-by-state basis. This is purely just the House of Representatives map. So we have a 7.8% lead for Democrats nationwide, and again, that is very good for them, considering that most of these pollsters rate a number of these races as likely or lean, mainly on the GOP side, only 11 for the Democrats and a total of 50 for the GOP, and toss-up or worse, 37 for the GOP and only 3 for the Democrats. Keep that in mind. So right now, when we look at this, it doesn't look too good for members of the GOP. We're seeing nearly what we saw in 2010, where the entire screen was taken up by red. There is a little bit more blue than before, but keep in mind, in 2010, Democrats had incumbents in North Dakota, in South Dakota, one in Idaho. So clearly there are a lot more possibilities for pickups than the Democrats have now, mainly because of gerrymandering and a couple of other things, especially in predominantly Republican states. And I'm not saying that this is a Republican-only issue, but just so happens that the Republicans were the ones who did it for this time around, and of course the Democrats would likely do it. It's just a political game that everyone likes to play, and there are a number of toss-ups. There should never be this many toss-ups before. If you go back, I don't know, it's not up here, but if you go back to their first rating in the House of Representatives for the 2018 midterms, their first ever rating right after the 2016 election. If we look at this, we have 200 solid seats for I did not mean to do that. We have 200 solid seats for the GOP, 171 for the Democrats. So it wasn't too bad, but in the toss-up or worse column, the Republicans only had 3, and the Democrats had 4. Okay, now they have 37 in toss-up or worse. They have 34 in likely/lean. Now they have 50. The Democrats had 17, and now they only have 11. So clearly the Democrats have gained in numbers. Obviously, the generic ballot polls stayed around the same. There's never really a time where the Republicans led, but still, the GOP is not doing as well as they should be, especially looking at this holistic national view in terms of the House of Representatives. It does not look good for the GOP whatsoever. There are areas, little pockets where they are getting a little bit more support, like in Minnesota, in 2 districts in Minnesota. But overall, the Democrats definitely are gaining traction, and it's not good whatsoever. So, all in all, the Democrats are doing very well at this point in time. We're looking at this map. We see so many Republican seats up. And yes, I'm not saying that all these seats are going to the Democrats, but if the Democrats are able to keep their numbers now and play their cards right leading into 2018, look how close we've gotten. We started off in May 2017 with this polling, and we are near 80 days away from the general election. That is a very short period of time. I don't know right now. The Democrats possibly will drop. I do expect them to drop just a tad bit before. That's always expected for Democrats to sometimes drop, and then same thing for Republicans. Whenever there's a political party leading, sometimes they drop right before the election and then rebound. However, right now the Democrats are at such a large lead that it's going to be very hard for the Republicans to gain and possibly have the majority in terms of polling, which I don't see possible, especially looking at this House map, which looks very, very good for the Democrats based off the ratings from all political pundits and not just one source itself. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.